Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. And today's Doctor Who review is none other than World Wide Web. Yes, the spiders of Metabelus 3 have taken over the Earth. It's too late for all of us. The eight legs have taken over. What can we do to fight them back? Well, the Doctor has assembled a team, of course, and this team will go out into the world and search for answers for how this has happened. Well, no, we know how this happened. Lucy Miller has been, brainwashed by the Great One. She is sitting on the back of Lucy Miller's back and is pulling the strings of her web as she controls the world of the crystals that have managed to take over the human race. However, the Doctor has procured some crystals himself, and through past knowledge he knows that the crystals can project the spider's attacks back at them. However, the Great One's plan has been progressing so much faster than the Doctor could have anticipated, and he finds himself in a chase for words. However, the Great One's power is slowly but surely fading as she realizes that her own kind are slowly but surely turning against her. She pushes the plan for the giant sphere in the sky to come closer and closer, and then everyone who dies under the rule of the Great One will essentially be sent off into this giant sphere to live. The Doctor fights as a race against time to try and save Lucy Miller from the clutches of the Great One. However, on the way, he finds himself and his group of kind of freedom fighters in a situation in which everyone has been brainwashed beyond control. Lucy Miller finds herself locked in a void out of space and in a place that the spiders are calling an afterlife, kind of heaven. The Doctor and his friends get chased around in a car and somehow have time to go to McDonald's, or not necessarily McDonald's, but they manage to go to somewhere very similar to it during this whole catastrophe just so that they can order a takeout. Then the Doctor kind of looks in the face of the person who's selling them the food and just grabs the food anyway. The Doctor manages to get into the network of the Great One system and pull Lucy Miller out. She ends up hanging from a rafter in the TARDIS, which I think is absolutely hilarious, and the group come up with a way of destroying the Great One's power. The Great One is dying anyway, and she's in a kind of position where she's fighting for her life, so she lynches onto the headhunter, and sadly in this story, the headhunter doesn't make it out alive. But she does manage to do one more thing. She manages to trap the Great One in her mind with her, and the pair destroy themselves in turn. This sad sacrifice leaves the Doctor a little bit shattered because he didn't believe that she needed to die. He just wanted to be able to reach out and find some part of the headhunter so he could save her from this eternal doom. However, they still have the rest of the eight legs to deal with, and the Doctor comes up with a plan in which he will essentially fight them back. The best way to do this is to basically get everyone to forget about the eight legs. Forget about them. Forget they were there. Forget all of it. And by doing this, the power of the eight legs begins to fade, and they begin to rush back off to their home of Metabelus 3. Without the power of the Great One behind them, they have no control over the world. And Lucy Miller and the Doctor get ready for another adventure in time and space. So, World Wide Web, what did I think of this story? I absolutely love this conclusion. I feel like it's really good and really solid to finally get an ideal kind of solution to the eight legs in general. I loved watching them in Planet of the Spiders years ago, and I love listening to them in this. Why? Because they have such a kind of affinity for creating this kind of mass web of deceit and confusion to people. I mean, for instance, the biggest thing that I like that Lucy Miller points out in this is there's a lot of people who die across the galaxy when she's in this kind of afterlife, and they don't know why they're worshipping the eight legs. And I feel like that's the most powerful thing about them. I also feel like they're definitely a villain that should be brought back to screen at some point. Because, I mean, we've had Arachnids in the UK and we've had this Anansi story. But we haven't really had the Eight Legs return, and I feel like they're a little bit more powerful. Maybe not in the god sense, but they definitely are trying to strive to be gods. And I feel like that is the thing that pushes them forward so much and makes them such a strong adversary. So, what would I give World Wide Web though out of 10? As I said, solid story, solid outcome. I really like though the play of the Doctor nicking someone's book as well from the last part of this story. I also like the fact that the Doctor often finds himself in a situation where his companions are away from him, and this story does that great, and that's why I give it a 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Doctor Who review. Until then, goodbye, stay beautiful, and have an incredible night. No, day, you beautiful people. Oh, and quick heads up, we are now on the 4th box set of the Lucy Miller range, so we will be starting the next review with Death in Blackpool. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.